I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, the basketball podcast. I am Ben Detrick. With me, as usual, Jordan Redaelli.
Hello. You seem like you're in a rush today, Ben. What's going on?
Well, we're on a deadline. The trade deadline, also here. The big board man, Andrew Kou.
What's up, guys? Trade deadline. Tread deadline.
Tread lightly, it is the trade deadline.
Did you notice that Ben's been mad corny since he got back from Mexico City?
Whoa.
You know,
what happened?
We're doing that right off the bat?
Yeah. I was just testing out the waters, see if Kou would go with me, but...
I'm with you.
You guys tried to
go ahead. You lead me down this path, though. I'm ready
First
to
of all,
follow.
it's called masa.
What's that?
Corn in Mexico.
Oh, shit. You have been spending time there. All right, let's get into it then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, why has he been corny?
I don't know.
I'm ready to follow you down this path, man. Lead us.
Guys,
You're the clutch sports of the trade deadline. I'm following you.
I'm on a deadline here. So the deadline passed approximately 2 hours ago.
Mm-hmm. And so did Magic Johnson's career as a GM.
The illustrious power forward / GM of the Los Angeles Lakers. So let's go. We've already given people a podcast 2 days ago. We are giving you a very quick update due to the fact that the trade deadline passed 2 hours ago. The big loser, the Lakers. What happened, Kou? What happened to the Lakers today?
They played their hand when they announced that AD was not going to re-sign. Way too early. He's got a year and a half left, so the Pelicans were just waiting. It's like the Pelicans didn't have to do anything, and sort of like in a certain politics move that happened a few weeks ago with the shutdown, like the Magic painted himself into a corner, and he couldn't get himself out.
Well, we talked about the Anthony Davis stat hog scenario 2 weeks ago. And basically what Kou was alluding to here was that Anthony Davis, represented by Clutch Sports, which is, very tightly affiliated with LeBron James, if not legally so.
Represents Anthony Davis and
they pushed this issue to the forefront. They asked for a trade. And ideally, this was supposed to work out with Anthony Davis being shuttled over to the Lakers, and it backfired.
It had a low probability of working. I don't know why they played their hand like that, but, we kind of also were ready for this trade to go through today. We were all sitting around our computers waiting for Woj to be like, AD to the Lakers. Because I guess the Godfather offer was on the table, allegedly, of all four of their young bench players, 2 draft picks, and filler like Beasley or something.
Jordan, take us into the mind state of Dell Demps, Pelicans general manager, when they refused to do this deal.
In what way? Why did he refuse to do it?
That was a pretty good offer. There was a lot of talent. There was a lot of draft picks. What was going on here? Were they really trying to make a deal? What was happening from the Pelicans' perspective here?
Come on. There's no way he's going to do it. It's like Magic Johnson told him he was going to steal his girl. He's not going to drive her over to his house. Fuck no. And I think that's what it boiled down to. It was a bit of a dick swinging competition.
Oh, nice.
I think.
Nice, yeah.
No, you can't do me like that. You don't get to do that to me and still get what you want. Magic Johnson, just because you used to play this game.
A dick-swinging contest with a Magic Johnson, no less.
Yeah.
Remember those Johnson T-shirts with big surfboards? And it's my Johnson's bigger than you. And it's a nerd beach scenario, but they were all over in the 90s, on Canal Street. You guys remember these shirts? They never pop up.
I feel like they were called Big Johnson or something.
Yeah, they were called Big Johnson, but they never pop up in thrift shops anymore.
I'm gonna have to Google this.
What's that really disgusting shirt that you have, Jordan?
It's like bungee jumping with a condom. That one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gave that away.
That was just a vile article.
Yeah, I couldn't wear it. I live in a pretty Catholic neighborhood, and a lot of the small businesses around there didn't appreciate my prophylactic attire.
Sometimes you have to hate buy stuff you see in thrift shops. You know, I know Jordan knows what I mean. You see something and you're like, I hate it so much, I have to buy it for $1.
Like the I just go to NSYNC concerts for the pussy T-shirt that I didn't buy and regret.
Right. You should have
Yeah.
hate bought it, right?
Yeah, I should have hate bought it and given it to somebody who I also hate and convince them that it was a good T-shirt.
And they should hate wear it.
Yeah. Oh no, totally. No, you don't come off as an asshole at all. It looks good on you. Fucking idiots.
Speaking of idiots, Rob Pelinka too. Like, I think you're right, Jordo. It's like an ex-agent, an ex-power agent links up with Magic Johnson, an ex-Hall of Fame or current Hall of Fame player, with LeBron James, who has his own sports agency, and they're like, okay, we're in charge now. And Dale Dempsey's like, no, my guy's under contract. I don't have to do anything. So it was sort of like Empire Strikes Back, right? Like the resistance didn't work. Eventually, I expect AD to do whatever he wants, but it might take half of LeBron's contract in LA.
It did seem that the Pelicans were sort of catfishing the Lakers here a little bit, where they would engage in phone calls, then, they're not responding to texts, and then they would kind of come back in and be like, okay, so here's what we want. Every single one of your players and 9 first-rounders. And it didn't seem like they really wanted to make a deal or were going to. They were kind of wasting the Lakers' time.
Which is amazing. That's
So
why, great.
Why wouldn't you? It's like, well, we're not going to give you our player, but we got to show you just exactly how displeased we are that you've been making overtures toward him for some time now and taking him out to dinner and shit. Like, let's imagine that in a million fucking years we're going to give you what you want. Tell me what it's worth. And basically, Demps put the Lakers in a thirst trap.
Yeah. And there's a thing happening
Straight up.
There's a thing happening in
They're
sports
just there
now.
punching, smashing that like button. Can't get in the DMs.
Like,
Like Magic's just there on Instagram being like, Scene? They
definitely left him on red.
Active 15 minutes ago? What the fuck?
Anthony Davis, right? Come on. I see you there. You're over there liking Morris twins photos.
Yeah.
Come on.
But in baseball, there's like these two like awesome players available in the free agent market for months. Machado and Bryce Harper are like 2 all-star players, and no team is biting because they want to control. Like all the owners got together and trying to control the market, being like, "This is getting too wild. Like these guys aren't that good. Like their WAR, all their advanced metrics. So like they don't supply that many more wins. They might put people in the seats because they're big names, but I felt like today." And with this AD thing, we kind of saw that happening in the NBA. That's why I say like the Empire Strikes Back, right? I can imagine ownership just being like, fuck this LeBron shit, man. He gets everything he wants. AD's under contract. We have contracts for a reason. If we don't start honoring these as owners, we're fucked. Like we have no leverage.
To me, there's something specific about this example that's a little different from the typical way in which teams respond to other teams inquiring about their players. And I think it is absolutely tied to LeBron James and Clutch. And it might be even less about the Lakers as a franchise than this idea of players becoming too powerful, and that we can't let players dictate our own transactions. We can't be bullied by players. We already are up against it, and I'm speaking from the mind state of ownership, with free agency. We know that guys are going to leave, but we can't let them come a year and a half before a dude
You're
can
like, my
leave.
time's up. Like your time is not up.
That's what I mean. It's. I think that's what it was. If this happened in the off season, there wouldn't be this sort of resistance, perhaps, from the Pelicans. They'd say like, okay, we're going to try to do this. But they're like, wait, you put us in a position where we're not trying to trade him. We might be trying to buy at the deadline. We might be trying to make the playoffs. And you're saying a year and a half into this guy's contract that he wants a trade? And it's in order to get him to play with LeBron, whose boys are orchestrating this? His childhood friends from Akron and Cleveland are trying to maneuver him over there? Fuck that. And I feel like that's what, we see when people, it's like, it's you, Jordan.
It's not me.
Yes, it is.
That's not me. That was you.
When you see Popovich allegedly was like, don't trade him to the Lakers. I just feel like this is definitely a class war in a sense
Yeah.
between ownership and players. This is more than just you're trying to poach our guy.
I was trying to figure that out. If it was actually a class war, if it was actually like moving towards the direction of clutch sports and what LeBron has been able to do, if it was a media thing, if we just know more now, and I'm not sure because through all these transactions that we saw today, like the league seems pretty much still in the hands of ownership.
I agree. I'm saying that LeBron is an anomaly in his power, his greatness, and the fact that he has clutch sports. There's no other player who's ever had an agency that controlled the fates and the careers and handled transactions that is marching in lockstep with him despite it not being legally the case. There's never been anything like this.
Agreed. And we're seeing kind of the limitations of that too with this AD thing. And it's funny, it coincides with the depreciation of him as a player. Maybe. We're not even
With
sure.
LeBron, you mean?
Maybe. But like, it seems like Clutch Sports doesn't have the power we think it has. Like when that was announced, like, I guess less than 2 weeks ago, we were just like, how are you going to get this done? Like, who are you making overtures to? Because the Celtics can't do anything or can't talk about giving you Tatum until this deadline's over or until Kyrie declares unrestricted free agency. So, like, we weren't sure what he was talking about. Was he just, like, as Jordan said, like, making a show of it? Just like, we have the power, so we're eventually going to get this done whether you like it or not, so plan accordingly?
Well, Clutch put its balls on the table. And basketballs on the table. But
A pair of basketballs.
And it didn't work.
I mean, I think the reason everyone keeps asking, like, why now? Why now? And I think it's because if you've got AD and LeBron under contract going into this offseason, every single one of those other free agents, those third free agents, has to think long and hard about whether they want to join or not. And everyone considers it. Like, Klay Thompson considers leaving Golden State to do that.
Yeah,
Jimmy
you're right.
considers leaving Philly. Everybody...
Kemba Walker's like, hey, this is my chance at getting a ring.
But this
Every
wasn't
single
their
person
intended
considers...
effect. There wasn't a Clutch intended effect, but it indeed was the effect. All these transactions that we'll get to in the show are ripple effects.
No. I mean, these guys, if they can spend all of next offseason gunning for these other dudes if they already have AD
2020?
with LeBron.
Or
Yes.
2019.
This upcoming offseason,
Okay,
where,
this
where
offseason,
all of
okay.
these free agents are becoming available, not just Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis isn't even available. But like Clay, Kawhi, Kevin, all the Ks.
Kemba.
Oh, whoa.
Kemba. Yeah, they're all Ks.
Thank
like
God there was a
7
fourth.
Ks.
I was getting really nervous.
I think that a huge part of this also was that LeBron wanted AD for this playoffs.
Exactly. This was a LeBron play.
This was to Jordan's point, it was absolutely to lock down having Anthony Davis on his roster and then going and trying to get another guy, etc. But this was LeBron not being comfortable with the team that he has right now and going into the playoffs.
He wants him now. He thought this was going to
He
get
thought this was
done.
going to happen. Then it'd be like, cool, we've got me, AD. We're going to get some veterans in the buyout market. We're going to make a couple little trades.
Carmelo.
And then we're going to go into the playoffs with 2 superstars and a bunch of journeymen. And like, let's rock.
And then let's get someone else's.
And then
upside.
And
Sign
as it
someone
stands,
else.
his first foray into the West ends in him not making the playoffs at all now.
Well, so
We'll
let's-
see. We'll see.
But let's talk about that. We've seen photos of the Lakers with LeBron separated by like several seats. We've seen LeVar Ball.
Reemerge as a
asking for-
hero.
But LeBron always sits at the end of the bench, correct?
Yeah, because he has that special seat for his back, right?
But in general, the
that was a
chemistry
bad optic. That was terrible.
the chemistry can't be great.
If that was us at
When
the bar,
everyone's
we'd
like,
be sad.
LeBron can be like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. But everyone knows he's been trying to ship out literally everyone of value on the team,
Dell
including
Demps.
all these veterans.
Playing chess.
So, like, can the Lakers repair team chemistry, or are we overthinking this?
I think they're fucked. Excuse my French. Pardon my French.
Zut alors.
I want to see like the layup line where like LeBron comes out and does the high fives, and everyone does the like slick thing where they like put their hands
The
through their hair.
Levitard thing, yeah.
You know, down low too slow.
No, nice.
That'd
Up
be-
high, nice try. What is
Yeah,
it?
up high, nice try. Down low too slow, and just kind of like son LeBron
But does
because he
LeBron
kind
have-
of he kind of like made them look like a bunch of punks out there in the
He did.
in the midst.
He made him look totally disposable.
He Kwame Browned his entire fucking squad, and that is kind of
Awesome. I mean, he's a bully.
I mean, no one
right?
cares about like Lonzo Ball or Kyle Kuzma or Brandon Ingram because they're all kind of like, you know,
They don't really.
they're
make
like a bunch of
difference.
wet blankets anyway. Like whatever.
And like LeBron by nature is a bully, right? So like this is kind of like revenge of the nerds culture, being like, you know what? We don't even like you. If you want to get us shipped out, like we have a long career ahead of us.
Is that heart sprinkling itching powder in LeBron's jockstrap?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what they'll do. They'll just Amelie him for the rest of the season.
That would be amazing if they were just like, actually, this is our team. You're the last one to join, so you
Yeah.
can get out. That would be hilarious.
Rookie hazing for
Yeah,
LeBron.
yeah, that's
Welcome to LA, big dog.
Yeah, exactly.
They put like
Lonzo's town.
putting like fiberglass in his jockstrap and shit.
Fiberglass.
Dude, that's what ballerinas, man. Ultra
Oh, right, that's a whole
ballerinas
culture.
that do like weird shit like fiberglass to scratch up your inner thighs and make it hard to dance. There's a lot of like. They should all just challenge him to something because he can't back down from a challenge, right?
You're saying just Black Swan him.
Full black swan. Like maybe if somebody knows how to use like a butterfly knife, but hey, LeBron, check this shit out.
Rondo seems most likely to use a butterfly knife. He just kind of like connect four.
Well, now that Beasley's gone, yeah, Rondo would
Yeah,
be the
Rondo.
one.
Rondo feels like a knife guy.
Yeah, Beasley gone. R.I.P. Bees. Super cool
cool.
Bees.
Who's a free agent right now who might just re-up with the Knicks,
I-
maybe.
I
Knicks
mean-
legend.
Why not?
Yeah, I love him.
So are we out on the Lakers making the playoffs here?
I'm out. I'm out on the Lakers making the playoffs.
I think that's reasonable. I don't know. I still don't know anything about this team. Remember we were doing the preseason predictions? I'm like, this could be an awful team, or LeBron by himself could get these guys into a 5th seed. I still think it's tight. I think they're what is it? You're
Well,
looking
they're
at
they're currently 2.5 back behind the Clippers, who seem to be kind of content with just
Sliding
dwindling
off.
out. They don't really care.
Yeah.
And the Kings are obviously going hard for that 8th spot, and there's a bit of a gap there. Like I think Utah and the Spurs are probably good enough to maintain, but Lakers could catch all those teams. It's really close there from basically that entire stretch of guys. You've got Portland with 32 wins, Houston 32, San Antonio 32, Utah 31, Clippers
So it's all
31,
bunched up.
Lakers 27. There are teams they could catch.
Right.
If LeBron comes back and plays well,
And if it's his team isn't putting fiberglass in his jockstrap and actually concentrating on winning games,
I would bet on LeBron, just in general. Like every time we've counted him out, he's came back and like made the playoffs or made the finals.
I don't know. We've
you
never
know-
counted him out, but he looks different this year. This is not the same LeBron.
But we've done this before, though, right? Like this year's the year that the Cavs
yeah,
can't
yeah.
do
We
it. And you're
actually,
like,
but
Yeah,
this
we
is the
have.
whole Tom Brady thing. We've given it probability. Everyone said they wouldn't be surprised, but like every time LeBron does succeed, and he's like, everyone counted us out. It's like,
How does he look different? LeBron was amazing until he got injured.
but he got injured, and now he looks. He's sat out a bunch of games. He played one, now has to sit out again. Load management. Something's weird with him this year, and he might just be resting.
maybe. I just think we've looked at the Cavs in years past, and their defense couldn't do anything. And you're like, oh, this year the Cavs are cooked. They're going to lose in the first round.
Where's Mo Williams? Why isn't he on the Sixers?
It's not a forward.
Fair enough.
What about I think Lance Stevenson, so then he can become the most popular, well-liked vet on the team with all the young guys. Should just start taking pictures of LeBron while he's asleep, like on the tour bus, like drooling and shit, and post them to Instagram. Just like ugly sleeping pictures of LeBron. Because LeBron's going to kind of expect it coming from Lance. And all the other dudes were like, that shit was tight.
Just
Lance.
D'Angelo Russell him, just like trying to get him slipping on the plane and posted it on Snapchat. Snap. I like that.
LeBron adjusting himself on the plane.
He's like, what is this, fiberglass?
I was sort of speculating, like, if the Sixers wanted to, like, move Jimmy Butler at, like, 257, you hit up the Lakers, and you're like, yeah, you know how you're not getting a superstar and LeBron want ones? Here's Jimmy Butler, but we'll take the same package that you were offering for Anthony Davis.
I saw you post that, and that would have been a really interesting trade.
Like, just go in there and be like, we want
3 of your
all
young
your young
guys,
guys
yeah.
and 2 draft picks, or you're going to have to go with LeBron into the playoffs with these dudes right now. And they're like, fuck, we really got to make the playoffs. All right,
Yeah.
screw it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That would have been interesting.
I don't think that would have happened on either end, but I like the desperate Lakers being preyed upon in theory.
All right, you're throwing the chum in the water. Let's go. Let's talk about your
That makes
Sixers.
sense, though.
Which
What
one?
you said.
I mean, the Lakers wouldn't give up that much, but just being like, we'll
I know,
take
but
Lonzo,
that's
Hart,
the
and,
thing, like-
and 2 firsts.
like
you
they're-
might say we'll take Jimmy
they're
Butler
stuck
for the
in-
rest of the year.
Yeah, they're stuck in their thirst trap. They're being blue balled for a week. Now Magic wants to get his rocks off. Like,
That's what I mean. Like,
No,
hey,
no, it was
we have
interesting. Yeah, it was
another
interesting.
option. We have another option.
Yeah,
we don't need you anymore.
because if anyone wants to fuck, it's the Sixers, right?
the bone zone over there. So yeah, the Sixers,
The boneyard.
Unguarded forward.
the big boys, Sixers. No,
Oh, yeah.
no king shaming, gents. Let's keep this on the level.
What? Who's
Sixers have
Who's the smallest on the squad? TJ. Oh, poor little TJ.
Little
TJ.
Tej.
JJ, TJ,
Is that why they keep him around?
Tej.
Just so they, and then whenever they get accused of, whenever someone kink shames them as size kings, they can be like, well, look, they
Look
just
at TJ
someone,
over here.
someone just throws TJ at them.
Tej, now
Beach.
the only point guard on the roster.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, granted, he kind of was to begin with. Well,
Yes.
so the Sixers yesterday made their big move, or 2 days ago, whatever it was. I guess it was 2 a.m. yesterday.
Yeah. Oof.
It was indeed the 6th.
Right, 2 a.m. The Sixers traded a cornucopia of future picks and
Mike
Landry
Muscala.
Shamet,
Waluigi.
for Tobias Harris, and Mike Muscala and Wilson Chandler were also sent out in that deal. So this gives the Sixers
Ton of
4 very good players and not much else. Well, I mean, Redick is a good offensive player, but the
4
Sixers,
forwards.
4 forwards, a center and 3 forwards.
And
Anyway,
and a shooting guard.
right. So anyway, the Sixers now have Tobias Harris. Anyone have a takeaway in this move? Do you like it for Philly? Does it catapult them to the top of the East?
I think the main thing that it contributes is that he already wears a headband, and they all like headbands.
Could he be the third Eskimo brother?
Yeah. I think he's been wearing headbands before those Johnny-come-latelys in Philadelphia anyway, so he's kind of the perfect fit.
He's one of the few throwbacks to the Ninja Turtle look
Yeah.
of the 2000s.
Well, he did model his game after...
Charlie Villanueva.
Bonzi Wells.
Oh, I love
Well, I
that.
was going to mention Carmelo Anthony, future Raptor Carmelo Anthony.
Tobias Harris from Long Island.
Shout out to Long Island.
Yeah, local guy.
No, I think Harris is fun on that team. You gave up not much for a decent amount of shooting. I don't know. It doesn't move the needle for me that much. I know there was a lot of talk about them being the team to beat after acquiring Tobias. That's yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. This happened yesterday. I haven't had time to really contemplate it.
How long does it typically take you to digest a trade?
I don't know. about the same time as like falafel balls.
So like several days?
Several days. Several days.
What's going on? It's like I had falafel 4 days ago, man. It's killing me.
Yeah. Or like
The most
Ben
undelicious
tried to
of-
tell me about something like 4 days ago, and I still haven't processed it yet.
Give it a week.
Give it a week. I mean, I got to see him on the team, to be honest. Let's not get carried away here. What is this, a trade deadline show?
Quo, do you have anything more? Do you have anything more on this topic, or are we just going to wait 4 days for the falafels to go through the system?
I thought it was really disappointing because he's
Go off.
a very, very good player, and he was an awesome addition if they were going to sell him for that cheap to many other teams. But as kind of someone who's pulling for the Sixers, it makes them better, but it doesn't really address their need, which is kind of
Go off.
it's
What are you saying?
it's bubbly water.
Just thirsty the Magic Johnson over here.
The takes were hot. What do you got? Go on. Yeah.
I just as heard on the Ringer podcast, but I'm kind of more optimistic than you are. I think it was disappointing that they got him because it's not who they needed, and it's not like good to very good point guards of his value are available for that price. So like the field wasn't providing the point guards of the Tobias Harris tier for that price again. But like there's redundancy there in that like if he's happy with being a third or fourth option, cool, right? Like we're not going to isolate him. Like Joe has turned into a ball stopping isolating player who's great. Are we going to get Tobias his 5 to 10 ISOs? Are we going to let Butler dribble around? Like, this team no longer no king shaming. It's very, very unique, and I've never seen a really good team built this way.
Medium ball, bitch.
It is certainly not modern, but, like, I want to see this. Let's see this.
I don't have a strong opinion about the trade because I'm not that impressed by the assets they gave up. The Miami pick could end up being really good, but we'll see. Miami is a team that doesn't really bottom out.
That could be really good or just okay.
But also, they're a team that doesn't own that pick, so they don't feel like bottoming out either. And typically, Miami has some guys. They play hard. They defend. They generally just don't become awful.
It's probably going to be a really good pick.
I agree. I think that's the asset to pay attention to. Shamit's okay. He can shoot. He's a valuable shooter, and he's young and cheap.
He's too mischievous. He's always like sabotaging people. He wears purple all the time. It's confusing.
Yeah, he does little dances. He likes throwing roses around. It's really interesting.
What are you guys talking about?
Waluigi.
What? I thought you were just talking about Shamit.
Oh, you mean Waluigi?
Waluigi.
I don't know who that is either, so you got me.
Moving along.
Yep.
So I don't think the Sixers gave up an incredible amount of assets for him here. But it kind of goes to what you were saying is, what does he do for the Sixers that they weren't already doing? They had good forwards. They had a bunch of shooters. What they were lacking was anyone who could defend guards, anyone who is an elite wing defender, anyone who can dribble and shoot and also defend.
And they could address that in the buyout market.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
So there are fit issues here that I don't really think it's not a transformative trade. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't look at the Sixers and say they are a different team than they were a day ago.
Yeah.
They are a better team because if you compare the starting lineup to the one they had last season, this one's more talented, has more scoring punch, probably better defensively, even though Butler's not as good as Covington, but Harris is better than Saric. Whatever. They're better and more talented, but they're the same team.
I like the if we frame it as like them like managing risk, and let's say they go into the playoffs with their big three, and one of them gets hurt, they're really compromised. At a very heavy cost, they've created some space for them because they have now 4 alpha players, right?
And in an immediate sense, you've just traded Shamit for Tobias Harris. Like, you are much better as a team right now.
Right.
Like, the future assets being what they are, you're just a lot better.
Right.
It is interesting, though, to have a team with this much talent and not have guards. It is fucking surreal.
Especially after they traded Markelle Fultz, who probably wasn't going to play this season, for another forward when, I don't know, DJ Augustine is fine. I think he makes a little bit of money, so that would have been tricky. I don't know.
I don't get why the Sixers were unable to peel Patrick Beverley away from the Clippers in that deal.
That was really
that's
odd.
Inexplicable to me.
Oh, they would have been so good.
If the Clippers are sort of giving up on the season, why would you not insist for that package to take Patrick Beverley and not take Boban or not take Mike Scott, who I actually think is like low-key kind of
No,
good.
I like Mike Scott. I was trying to make these jokes on our. I was telling the interns to make these jokes. Remember he got busted for like all that MDMA, and they threw out the case because it was racial profiling. But he had the MDMA on him, and he was like,
How much did he have on him?
I think enough to like quote unquote deal, and he was gonna go away for a really long time.
Oh, really?
And the judge was like, they just stopped him because he was black, so we got to throw this all away. And he was like, cool.
He's like, I'm going to the party.
And he's named Michael Scott, Pennsylvania, Philly. This is intern gold.
Oh,
right
like The
here.
Office.
Yeah,
His nickname is Regional Manager.
that's great,
It's
man.
a pretty good nickname. I
Wait,
like
that's his real nickname?
yeah, it's regional manager.
Oh man, I don't
regional
know enough
manager.
about Mike Scott, drug dealer extraordinaire.
He's got all the first gen emojis tattooed on him.
Oh, yeah,
You know that
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
He used to be on the Hawks.
I'm a fan. I like
He's-
him. I
well,
think
he's a good player.
He's a good player, good
Yeah.
pickup. He
How
can
much
shoot.
ecstasy do you think he was on when he got those tattoos?
Anytime you see somebody with green tattoos,
I would say intent to distribute amount.
anyone with green tattoos is a dead ringer for MDMA. I'm just like, oh yeah, you're a tripper, man. Like, it's so gross. Like, the Birdman has green tattoos on his neck. I'm like, he's certainly in that category. Mike Scott dabbles.
Clearly.
Yeah, green is tough on skin,
But
man.
snakes and dragons are green, and there's lots of them on people's tattoos.
But they're not this bright green. You know what I'm talking about? Like the weird hazard green, like the poison under the sink green.
Like
The sticker.
like Venom yellow.
I was so annoyed when I ordered that. It said Venom Yellow on eBay. I
So
got
just
it. and it
for the
was like-
record, Quo came in today wearing his North Face Venom Yellow jacket.
I was like, cool. I like the character Venom. I love yellow. Let's do this. I paid $80 for it. I was psyched. Never worn. It came, and it's more of like a lime green.
Yeah, it's
light green.
definitely a lime green. It's more of it's like shitty tattoo green.
Yeah, it's shitty tattoo green, 100%.
What's also interesting about the phrase Venom Yellow is that it's associated so much with like bees or hornets or wasps, which are yellow.
Really?
In my mind, like Venom Yellow would be like the venom of
my
of
mind
s-
immediately went to like
snakes.
peeing on somebody who got stung by a jellyfish.
Oh,
Oh, that's cool. My mind went immediately to like hackers, like weird, like screen green, like RGB green. I don't know. That's what I thought. I had just watched Venom. Kind of an okay movie, but I was surprised it was such a big hit.
I mean, Marvel.
There's been some Marvel flops, though.
Yeah, that was definitely the worst one.
It was, right? It wasn't that good. Tom Hardy's awesome. And
Really?
he was super
I'm
funny.
anti Tom Hardy. I think he's never been in a good movie.
Oh, well,
Or
that's weird.
had a good role. I know it's weird, but
That's all right. But, like, it was a
I
huge
can't
hit.
be wrong all the time.
But they're going to make another one, which is weird. And it doesn't cross over with the universe anyway. Sorry, I was just thinking about my jacket.
are we done with Tobias Harris? Do we have anything else to say here?
Well, okay, so moving forward, they said they're considering, Elton Brand's considering re-signing Butler and Harris to long-term deals. So what's that all about?
So this trade, I don't think makes them the best team in the East because it doesn't address their immediate needs, but it does create an interesting situation for this offseason. What you were saying is they paid too much for this just to be a rental.
They should try to
You
re-sign
don't
him.
you don't give up that Miami Heat pick plus Shamet plus all these other assets to get him for 35 games. So I do believe that the Sixers are intending on bringing back both Butler and Tobias Harris. And what's kind of cool about this trade and what's kind of warmed me up to it is that when guys are free agents, they have what's called a cap hold. So before you sign them, there's a certain amount that's.
Mansplaining cap holds to us.
I mean,
All right,
I'm
all
explaining
right.
to the listeners, not you guys. You know,
I
you
mean,
guys
to
know
be
a fucking
fair, he
cap
tried
hold.
to explain it to me like 30 minutes before he got here, and I'm lost again. It's going to take me at least 4 days
I will
to
process.
process
It's the
yeah.
falafel of the NBA.
Stop saying falafel. I just ate them, and now I have to think about my next 4 days.
So the cap hold basically means that you can't. What's the best way of saying it? It's really boring, but basically when the Sixers sign Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, they'll pay them something like $66 million a year. Prior to signing them, there's like a credit for $52 million a year or something like that. So the Sixers have some leeway in the cap space. So what it boils down to, after that totally
Because players get
fruitless
paid throughout the
explanation,
season.
is that like the Sixers can bring back these big four dudes and spend $20 million before re-signing Harris and Butler, and then kind of blow out the cap. So that, to me, is interesting. That the Sixers could wisely spend $20 million and get a backup center and get Patrick Beverley or whoever, and flesh out the roster with useful, good players who know they're going to be part of a good team, and then re-sign these guys and just have a massive cap with 4 talented players on it.
And let's not pretend that you can't flip Tobias and Jimmy. If you could always trade max players, they're in demand.
But I mean, it's if you're contending, it's good to have a massive cap sheet where you can just
This is the
kind
time.
of recycle
Yes.
dudes and be like, okay, we'll take Otto Porter now, and you can just kind of flip contracts for other guys who are good. If you're under the cap, you can't do that. If you're just way above it, you actually have way more room to play around if you're willing to spend the money in the luxury tax.
This is not purgatory. This is what teams want. You're right. Like, this situation is them going for it with the assets. And it's crazy how they weathered the loss of a number 1 overall pick and still are in contention to go to the finals.
So that was another big trade today. Markelle Fultz, who the Sixers took 2 drafts ago, the number 1 pick.
Heartbreaker,
They
man.
traded up a future first-round pick to get him. That a little sting is off of that because Sacramento has played above expectations, and that's
Absolutely.
looking like a mid-range.
But still, man,
still.
it hurts, dude.
Assuming Fultz does not recover, let's just say that. Assuming that
With you.
we've seen all we've seen of Markelle Fultz and he disappears into the ether, where does he fall in disappointing first round number 1 overall picks? Where is he in the hierarchy?
Below the Anthony Bennett tier.
Yeah. First of all, it's not really his fault. Let's get
Hey,
this
oh.
straight. I need
waiting
more
in the
coffee.
wings.
That is. No, I just thought of it then. It was hideous.
You've been corny since I got back from Mexico.
I have. Where does it fall?
Olowokandi, let's think about all the bad ones. Like Olowokandi, Kwame Brown, Anthony Bennett.
Those are some of the god level mistakes.
Yeah, those were horrendous. And then you think of like the egregious ones, like Sam Bowie. Everyone brings up.
Honestly, I can't even see the Fultz one is up there with Greg Oden as being
I love
an
Greg Oden.
unfortunate end to a promising future. I don't think it's a.
You pick Greg Oden over Durant any day.
Yeah, I don't think anybody whiffed.
What
on
about
Fultz?
What about Bargnani? That's another one that's.
Oh yeah, he
in
might
that-
be the worst just because he fucking stuck around and made everyone's lives hell.
And he was
Like he could have just been a Boston fucked off.
and
but
he was
instead
predictive
yeah.
too. No one saw Anthony Bennett coming, but everyone's like, "Yo, they might take Bargnani," and they did. So that was really ridiculous.
I think there's a few different criteria here. There's,
DeAndre Ayton, oof,
but I mean, there's the injury.
that's a hot take. I know he's playing good.
But there's the injury criteria, which is the Greg Oden, and Fultz kind of falls under that.
100%.
where it's like,
Yeah.
Hey, he would have been good, but something happened.
Yes, 100. Yes, that's why he's not Bennett.
Right. Then you've got Anthony Bennett, where it's like, this dude just isn't good at basketball. You've got the Bargnani, where it was like, people thought he was going to be good, and he was foreign, and he was miscast.
And I mentioned Ayton because another criteria is who else was in the draft.
That's a huge deal. Right. And that's some strikes against Fultz, because there are a fleet of dudes who would have really helped the Sixers.
Yes.
And, whether it was Tatum or Lonzo Ball or Fox or a cop from Utah, there were a lot of guys.
He wasn't projected anywhere near there.
For sure. But I just mean, looking at that draft, there were a number of guys that if you pop them into the Sixers right now,
Oh, yeah.
you're like, whoa, that team is loaded.
De'Aaron Fox is definitely for me the one from that draft. I'm not high on Tatum. I for the life of me can't see why he's such a big deal for this AD trade to the Celtics.
Wait,
But
are you
De'Aaron Fox is-
talking about Luol Deng?
From my understanding, the biggest concern from the Pelicans is that we might be looking at Martell Webster here.
Wait, Wizards legend Martell Webster?
I mean,
But,
alternatively,
okay.
the upside.
Let's say he's not Martell Webster. What would
Then
the
he's the
upside be?
flaw.
What would the upside be?
I mean, I'd have to check the stats offhand. Maybe a Luol Deng, former Chicago Bull, Laker legend.
Right. So we're looking at at best Luol Deng, but at
descri-
worst Martell Webster.
In basketball terms, we would call that the ceiling and the floor.
Oh, that's cool.
But I agree. You are right. The ceiling is the floor, Jordan.
Maybe you could update this, like whatever joke thing it is.
No, we're not going to do
No
that.
joke.
You're not?
No,
No.
it's not going to happen.
Okay.
So anyhow, the criteria we have are Fultz is injured, not that bad. A lot of good players in the draft, pretty bad. Probably worst 5 of all time. I mean, Odin, Bargs, him, Bennett.
I don't think. But Odin,
Kwame.
how can you even put Odin in there?
Yeah, I wouldn't put Odin in there either.
It's just an injury, man.
But Odin gets dinged because KD was second. So and I agree. I think Odin would have been the right pick.
Odin,
He was incredible.
Ralph
in college.
Sampson.
incredible. But Sampson had a good career.
Yeah, but there's the difference between having a good career and being Michael fucking Jordan. I'm swearing a lot today, guys. I'm very sorry.
It's a trade deadline. We're all stressed.
But I mean, when you think of the most egregious draft mistakes, Fultz will always come up, and I just don't. I think it's an outlier.
It's not a mistake. That's why.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted him. Everybody.
He
thought
was a top
gonna be
3 pick,
fine.
no doubt. And if you took, everyone understood why the Sixers did that, and it was surprising. And we talked about it on Cookies that we didn't love that trade at all, but at least they got a sure thing, and that thing was not sure at all. It's super sad to see him go for that little. We didn't know what his market was, and then when he went for a top 20 protected pick, that was Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, it's funny. The pick that he was traded for was originally the one that was traded to Philadelphia when they gave Jeremy Grant to OKC. So it's an OKC pick that is top 20 protected.
Does it
And
convey if it falls within the top 20?
It turns into second rounders. But it's an OKC pick. OKC's good. It probably will convey as a late first round pick, as opposed to if it was an Orlando pick.
When I first saw that come through and we didn't know the details, I thought they got Mo Bamba because Mo Bamba's stock is like totally bottomed out. I thought they got the dude, but
So
Simmons.
some people were saying that the Sixers, acquired Jonathan Simmons for having Jonathan Simmons. I kind of disagree. I think he's terrible,
yeah, he had that one good season.
and I
San
don't
Antonio.
think they're going to keep him. I could be wrong.
Is
they'll
this
keep him
some
on the-
Brett Brown Popovich family tree bullshit?
My hunch, and again, I have no idea what the Sixers are doing in terms of guard play. Maybe they're like, Jonathan Simmons is technically a guard. We'll keep him on the roster, but he's been awful this year. He can't shoot for shit. There's no way you can play him in the Sixers rotation, considering the lack of shooting from Simmons and TJ McConnell. But why he is a nice pickup is that his contract is not guaranteed for next year other than $1 million. So really what the Sixers were doing here was ditching Fultz's contract for next year, picking up potentially a late first, a second rounder, and clearing his contract.
Don't you think they could have gotten more?
No.
Are you sure?
Because they would have taken more.
I mean, don't you think
It wasn't like the better offer that they turned down.
No, 100, and we'll never know. But we debated would the New York Knicks offer smokes for him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I think that after the Sixers made this decision that they're going to try to get all these 4 dudes on long-term contracts, which I kind of rock with because they're talented, they then had an urgency to clear the cap for next offseason so they can do exactly what I said. So they can go out and
what I
try to
said.
get
Yeah.
vets in that space. And if you had Fultz in there, you can't do it. You don't have enough room.
Definitely.
But if you have wiggle room to go and get Beverly or Kyle O'Quinn or whoever, just a bunch of veterans who make $3,
Kevin
$4
McHale,
million
too.
dollars, you can do it. If Fultz is there, you can't.
Yeah, and I respect them for cutting bait when they had to because they could have kept him around indefinitely for his rookie deal. And just saying like we're going to go for Tobias, we're cutting we're sunk costs in our number 1 pick 2 years ago. Like there's something nice about that in the way that New York handled the KP situation. There is like a clean break that is appreciated.
I was going to say, Jordan, do you think this is a mistake on the Sixers' part? Are the Sixers giving up too early?
No. I mean, excuse me. You have to. You can't just like act on faith like the New York Knicks. Like you need to
A religious organization.
Yeah, you need to have some kind of
The Mecca.
proof, or some kind of like will to live when you're dealing with this.
A proof of life.
Proof of life. That's what I meant. No, that's not really what I meant. I meant will to live, but proof of life sounds better and means what I actually meant. Yeah, I think that they'd sort of done all their due diligence with Fultz, and It's like Porzingis, just move on. Thank you next.
I'll
in
take the
words
devil's
of the poet
advocate
Ariana
approach to
Grande.
this.
But
Fuck,
can I
that's
just
bullshit.
finish really quick before,
I
you,
thought you
before
were-
you
I
tell
thought
me
you
Come
were
on,
lagging.
give him a chance. Quo.
before you tell me
Jeez.
that I'm wrong
right, let's
again?
go.
You're just at Jordan's throat today.
Yeah, like you see
right,
that you
get
see
it
that I'm
out.
tired. You see that my mind is not snapping as quickly as it usually does.
Would you like more coffee?
No, this coffee is disappointing. But thank you for making it for me.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's just cold now. Kind of like
like
my
your takes.
mind. I can't even
on.
say mind. Like, somebody help me.
Jordan, you need a brain revelation now.
Okay.
AKA thoughts.
They call them thoughts. Thought breaker.
The only brain revelation I have right now is I feel really bad for Fultz because, like, his life somehow got even shittier. He had to move to Florida, dude. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're in Orlando now. Before you
Like-
could kind of hang out with this team that's going to the playoffs, and I remember like, yeah, now you're written in stone in Philly, right? You can't redeem yourself.
Is
either.
Orlando like the South?
I
Would
believe
you
it is.
I know, but would you? But you don't consider Miami the South. Because
always-
it's like a city on its own.
I
right?
personally did, but I've never been there.
Oh, Miami doesn't feel like. Well, the city itself doesn't feel.
Yeah, Miami is
like the
Miami is like a Latin American country.
Yeah.
It's an outpost. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel
20 minutes out of
South,
Miami is
yeah.
different. But
it's not
like,
Tallahassee.
yeah, ooh. But Orlando is like straight up like southern country.
Boy band land.
Yeah. Yeah, Fultz is bummed, man. But he's always bummed. How much more bummed can he be?
Wait, does he take his girl with him?
Who's he dating again? We went through this.
Yeah, we went through this. Oh, I don't even know her name. He does
Instant
lot of
Instagram influencer.
bed selfies.
Oh, yeah, he got chubby. Okay, this is all coming back to
Yeah,
me.
He's looking kind of burly.
Take the
Thick.
Magic Kingdom and back.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's rough for him because he can't redeem himself in Philadelphia. So even if he comes back with Orlando and ends up becoming a fruitful NBA player, he will be reviled forever in Philadelphia for something that wasn't his fault.
Because we can't explain like brain injuries, right?
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong.
Well, no, because you haven't been able to explain mine today. So
No,
You got it, Jordan, you got it.
if he gets a brain revelation and
Also known as thoughts.
becomes a good player in Orlando, he's still going to be viewed as a huge failure in Philadelphia. Now, my problem is, if I'm Orlando, knowing that he's been on the Sixers for 2 years, knowing they've tried all these different things, knowing that there are issues with his family and potentially his body physically, whether it's a mental thing, whatever it is, if the Sixers are willing to trade him for this, then I kind of don't want him.
I don't know. I'm excited if I'm Orlando. And they're not run well. I didn't like that Aaron Gordon signing, but I really like Isaac. Oh, Vucevic didn't move. I just thought of that. I thought for sure he was going to be on the move. But I love that core a little bit. Even though Mo Bamba hurt his foot and we won't really know what he is for a longer time, that was an awesome gamble. They got him for like 20 cents on the dollar. And yeah, who knows? Maybe you sit him
I mean,
for
he's probably
an
not
entire
going to
year.
stay long in Orlando anyway. They move players like it's no one's business.
True, but like that's a good asset to get for Jonathan Simmons and like a pick outside the top 20.
Orlando has become sort of just a clearinghouse at this point. Like they're so far from contention or being good. It's sort of like players go through there, are drafted, kind of put in a little time, and then go off somewhere else. It's like you had Oladipo, you just kind of screwed around with him, traded him off, and then he went and joined the Pacers as their marquee dude. You had Ibaka, where he was sort of segueing in his career from OKC and then heading up to Toronto. So this brings us to another Eastern Conference team besides the Sixers, and the Raptors made
Well done.
a substantial move today, perhaps
Optically, yeah.
optically, with large humans,
Big names.
big boys. No kink shaming. But the Grizzlies traded their longtime Memphis hero, Marc Gasol, to the Raptors in exchange for Jonas Valanciunas,
Valanciunas.
Whatever.
Valanciunas.
Dillon,
right?
Delon Wright.
CJ Miles, and a future second-round draft pick. So now the Raptors have added a guy who has won Defensive Player of the Year in the past and a legitimate star at center without giving up one. Does this push the Raptors to the top of the East, or maybe they were already there?
I was watching this go down live on ESPN on the Jump, and the two players in the studio, Tracy McGrady and Paul Pierce were immediately like, that doesn't matter. But then the other two analysts in the room were like, "This is huge. Like he can pass well. He has skill sets that are useful on any team. He still has something left in the tank." And the two players still were like, "No, we're not scared of him. Like he's not an issue at age 34 anymore. It's nice." They were like, "That's not bad. People like him." And then I went to a deep dive into his stats, and both sides have a point. Jonas Valanciunas was having a really good season when he was playing. He just came back from injury, but and Marc Gasol had declined a little bit in places that kind of made him an outlier. He kind of moved back to the field of good passing centers in the league who are like slightly above league average. So I think it was a nice move with a high voice.
Jordan, does this change the game for Toronto?
I don't know how much it changes the game. I think if he's healthy come playoff time, I think his experience and the collective basketball IQ of that team probably grew considerably. And so in playoff games when you've got time to scheme for particular other teams and matchups, I think that's where he will be most useful and helpful.
Which match? So if you're Toronto, Usam Ujiri is so good at his job. He's looking at matchups immediately, right? What is he thinking? Who is he? He got Gasol to play a team. Which one is it?
Celtics.
Well, or you're now saying Embiid, you've got to guard a guy.
Maybe. I was thinking
who's
the
going to be
Sixers
23
too.
feet away from the basket.
Yeah. One of these teams is not making it out of the second round, which is crazy to think because they're so good. I thought, right, to your point, Ben, I thought Ujiri was thinking about Embiid.
Or Brook Lopez.
I mean, just
great player.
in general, I think Ujiri has done a really great job of winning at the margins, finding those guys, whether it's late rounds or undrafted free agents, and giving them a shot and sifting through talent.
And he gambled
while
on
contending.
Kawhi, which is great.
He's doing everything you're supposed to do. And a lot of times we talk about like what would Hinkie have done. We know because it's what Ujiri does. Mm-hmm. He went and found those guys and developed them instead of saying, I'm just going to go get veterans. And they have Siakam. They have
OG, who's okay.
They have Van Vliet.
Yeah.
They have OG, but they have a bunch of useful guys, and now they're in the business of consolidation because they're trying to win a championship. They consolidated assets and got Kawhi Leonard. They're consolidating assets to get Marc Gasol. And now you look at that team and you're like, you have Kawhi Leonard, you have Marc Gasol, you have Ibaka, you have Lowry. That is a very, very, very good team.
See, but I would almost see it as like they were scarier with Valanciunas and Delon Wright.
See, I don't think so. I think Gasol is still a very good defensive player.
100%. Yeah,
I think he's a better defensive player than Serge Ibaka.
But their best lineup is Ibaka at the 5.
Right. I know. And I'm saying I don't know if they're going to start Gasol or bring him off the bench, but I think defensively he is very good and he gives you a stretch in the way that Jonas couldn't do.
Yeah.
I think this is a good trade. I like his passing. I like his ability to shoot. I like his defense. And he's always been a very tough playoff guy. I know that's anecdotal, but Gasol has gone to war in the playoffs. It's kind of what Jordan was saying.
And you're right. In the Raptors are kind of languishing in like the bottom third of rating offensively and defensively, and something had to give. And in my mind, I thought it was Valanciunas coming back, just like anchoring that defense a bit more would have been a difference. It's a nice move. Gasol has depreciated considerably, I think, in the last few years. Still very good. Still an awesome name. Still a big guy. But I don't think you can play him in certain situations, and that scares me because maybe I might be valuing depth too much. But seeing Chris Paul go down and seeing the Sixers be so thin has made me terrified of a playoff scenario where you don't have Delon Wright sitting on your bench waiting to take minutes. Like he's built for random superstar.
Not that RPM
series
is everything, but among centers, Marc Gasol is right now 7th in RPM among centers. Like he's played well this year.
I don't like RPM at all. But like, who are the 6 before him?
Jokic, Gobert, Vooch, Embiid, Nurk, Towns.
Like very, very, very good players, but like Nurk, it's debatable. Like you don't want him on your playoff team. He's having a good season.
Balling this year, though.
Yeah,
but
for
right.
sure.
Look, he's got some vulnerabilities, but I'm just saying.
He's a,
I'm
that's
just
good
saying.
company.
I'm just saying Gasol's good,
But-
he's not. He's not like a washed up dude who's just going to roll in there. And
No,
kinda
didn't
do
say
stuff.
that.
Like, he's a big upgrade to me, at least over Jonas.
I think it's always a nice move to switch it up with like, I don't really believe in any cultural stuff, but Gasol's a smart player, and I think he really helps that team regardless. That was the appeal of Mo Bamba, right? Like everyone was like, physically he has problems, skill set wise he has problems, but he's very bright. So like that's worth a ton, and I think that's Gasol's value.
But the Eastern Conference is where all the moves were made in terms of teams really upgrading to sort of go for it. And besides the Sixers and the Raptors, the Milwaukee Bucks, Jordan's team, trying to roust him out of his slumber over here.
I was at the dentist before this, guys.
Are you on painkillers?
No, I'll explain later.
Oh man.
So cryptic. It's
So-
so falafel.
Well, earlier today, we will explain now, the Milwaukee Bucks acquired Nikola Mirotic
Mirotic. I don't know.
from the Pelicans in exchange for Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, who they had just gotten via Detroit for Thon Maker, and 4 second-rounders. So now Mirotic gives the Bucks another postseason weapon, another forward who can shoot from the perimeter, high IQ offensive player, not a great
Suspect
defender, but another
Good fit.
weapon
A
for
great
sure.
fit.
As the resident Milwaukee man,
Yes.
how do you feel about this, Jordan?
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's. No, I mean, like he's likely going to be a, let's say, 50-game rental, including the playoffs.
Dude, sedated Jordan is incredible.
Shut up.
Are you drooling on the spit guard?
No. I was fine.
Vicodin boys.
I was fine until I sat down.
Percocet season has returned.
Oh no, I think it's a great pickup. You know.
He like mustered all of his remaining energy to get that takeoff.
I love it. It's the best take we've had yet.
No, I mean it gives Giannis
Oh, this is
plenty
amazing.
of
Go
opportunity.
off, King.
No, like Giannis gets to like
Yes,
drive the
Your
lane and
Excellency.
like kick it out to another high percentage shooter.
We'll never demote you.
Yes,
He for
Jumps over that.
for the older Bucks fans, he just remind them of Ilyasova. They'd be like, oh,
Who's still on the team?
yeah, again.
Excellence. Excellence, Your Excellency.
Go off.
He might have to grow the beard back because it's a lot colder there than it is elsewhere.
You got this, Jordan.
Come on,
Power
come
through
on.
it, man. You got that winning culture.
It'd be nice to see Mirotic in the playoffs. I think he deserves it after everything he's been through.
What has he been through, though?
He got his face broken.
Dude, what do you? Yeah, caved
Okay.
in.
I mean, all right. Yes, that's horrible. Okay.
Wow, very unsympathetic. Whoa.
I don't know.
What,
yeah.
you think he asked for it?
I mean,
Sure.
I mean, I think he actually quite literally did, didn't he?
it's like Portis punched me in
So
the
it was
face.
like, what are you gonna do? Break my face?
There's one thing I dare you. I dare you to take my jaw and put it on the back of my head.
Oh, wow. That was more graphic than it needed to be. No, again, great pickup for the Bucks. Way to go, guys.
Go
Whoa,
Bucks.
can you add anything to that?
Please.
I think it's awesome that a team in that market can retain a superstar like Giannis, even though he can't shoot. He's up to 20% now, and
He's on fire.
Yeah.
3 for 3 last night.
sick. And keep on adding. And Mirotic is such a cool acquisition for that team because he fills an exact need for them. The shooter who could stretch, who's big, who's a problem, and they have everything they need to make a run now. I'm a huge Bledsoe guy. I don't know. I really love that trade.
You know what I thought was blah, but I thought was funny last night, or even today, when Thon Maker got traded, right? And Giannis was like, "Oh, that was my baby boy. Like that's my bro. I'm gonna be sad to see him go, but hey, that's the business." I was like, "Damn, Giannis is one ruthless motherfucker." Like he said that just because he kind of had to, and it's like that whole thing where he doesn't like talking to other players or socializing with them. He didn't give a shit that Thon was gone, man.
But
He's
don't
like-
you think it's an
he's like-
African thing? Like they were like country. I mean Greece, but like by way of Africa. They were tight, right?
No. They were tight, but it didn't seem. It seemed like he was just saying it because he had to. I think he doesn't. I think he's like, damn, Thon was not getting minutes, and now I got Miro.
Yeah, maybe he was
Stoked.
happy for Thon.
Yeah.
Also, Thon's like kind of Australian. Like they're annoying, so he's probably pretty happy that he was gone.
That's true.
That's true. And
And they still have Delvin? No.
they do not have Dellavedova.
No.
But it's funny how Giannis is like kind of just going through the motions, like doing the Kobe stuff and doing the Jordan stuff, being like, "That's right, we play to win the game." And then when he dunks, he's like, "That's fucking right."
Yeah,
It's
after he
just like-
takes 4 steps.
Oh, travel truthing.
Wow. Even travel truthing on his favorite team.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That is a referee at heart.
It's like
Blow that whistle, Jordan. Blow the whistle.
But Mirotic is a great move. So when all this stuff goes down with the Raptors and Bucks and Sixers, you look at Boston and they're kind of the winners because they get to bid on AD, but they're not. They didn't get better. They didn't do anything. Did you think they had to do something?
I feel like Boston's been playing really well lately, and
Even though they're in a rebuild.
well, they're going to rebuild this summer.
Yeah.
They're playing fine right now.
Yeah, they're
been
awesome right now.
They've been really rocking on both sides of the ball. Their efficiency has been great. They are a super tough team. They're winning games. I mean, to me, I feel like when they added Marcus Smart to the lineup was like a turning point.
He's a good player.
And he's been like, he really has become the player that he was sort of projected to be. You know, his shooting has improved enough that he's now a good offensive player, and he's just a beast on defense and a total outlier at the guard position. Anyway,
And a Morris brother playing better is just like the whole difference.
yeah, and even Jaylen Brown, who I don't.
Which one is it this week?
Is it? Can we just combine them like
Mercury Morris.
Mercury Morris? Yeah, Morris, sort of like a Zeller.
It's because they're like the Prestige.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's a Morris.
Wait, wasn't Morris a famous cat, like a ad cat? Was it Fancy Feast?
Oh yeah, I think it was.
Was it Morris? It was like a tabby, right? Ooh.
What are the famous Morrises? Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell.
Oh yeah.
Morris Day?
He's come up 3 times in cookies in the last month.
Yeah, he's really the zeitgeist.
The cookies.
Cookies is Zach Morris. What about Morris Day?
Morris.
I mean,
Lewis.
it was mostly about the time, but you can bring Morris in.
You're
there
more of
if
a
you like.
time guy.
I'm a time guy. Like, when is this over? Time guy.
How you doing?
I'm not great.
It's later than our usual recording time. So
Yeah.
this is like post-afternoon tea time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he's
I-
also sipping on Demerol over there.
Tell us about it later, Ben.
Well, look, all right, fine, fuck it. I had like the dentist was like drilling into my teeth all afternoon, man. So then
What drugs are you on?
I'm not on any drugs.
You can tell us.
But then you forget that even though they numb your mind with the drugs, then even when they wear off, your body's still being through a very stressful experience. So your body's tired even though you didn't feel the pain.
Would you say
Now you're
there's
just feeling the fallout
Thoracic.
of that pain.
how is this impacting your brain revelations?
I'm not having
Your
any.
thoughts?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
they're
You can do this, man.
it's more of a mind stream than a raging river of revelations.
Oh, that
kinda
was
heating
You're
up.
coming back, man. Heat check.
Okay.
Wait, what's the other one we were talking about?
You mean the Celtics?
Yeah, the Celtics.
What's up? Go off.
Why are they got such a hard on for Anthony Davis, man? He doesn't want to go there. Leave him alone.
It's a good question.
It actually is a good point that he's made it very clear he doesn't have interest in the Celtics. And like, no, we're trading for you.
I like that though.
And
I
it's
like
like-
that Ainge is doing that because this is all posturing, right?
Maybe, but like, he doesn't want to go out on a date. Stop bothering him. It's not going to make him like you more if you keep giving him, like,
Overtures.
Yeah, overtures. You just keep pressuring him to like hounding him for a date. Like it's gross.
But the other thing here is that
Danny Ainge doesn't even have a big butt. Let him live.
the thing is Kyrie might leave, and then what's the point if you're Boston? You're going to say we're going to give up Tatum and we're going to give up picks and stuff to bring in
Well, that's
Anthony
why the
Davis
Lakers-
to play with Gordon Hayward.
And that's why the Lakers needed to get Anthony Davis this year, so then Kyrie would have a very good reason, an understandable reason to leave, the Celtics.
Well, before we jump forward to the whole summer, now we've got these four teams who are
The suitors for Anthony
the
Davis.
Eastern Con. No, I'm saying the Eastern
Oh.
Conference.
Okay.
We've talked about Philly and Toronto and Milwaukee and now Boston. Has the landscape shifted in any significant way due to this deadline?
Yeah, I think Philly changes. I think they got better. That's a scary team to play. Even though if they just get someone in the buyout market, like Elfrid Payton, maybe. I love Shabazz Napier, but they seem to be kind of holding tight the Nets. If they just get a guard like that, like they're super scary.
I think Toronto kind of got a tad better, and Sixers definitely got better, but I think the Bucks got a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. They all.
The Eastern playoffs should be
As I
fantastic.
so
Yo,
eloquently described earlier.
yeah, like a poet.
Yeah.
There's going to be some early exits, and these four teams are going to be really disappointed if they don't get into the conference finals. And I want to temper our reactions to it now because if Philly doesn't make it to the conference finals, it's not because of anything that happened now.
Could be because there's no guards on the roster.
Well, we'll see how that plays out. I really think they're going to address this in the buyout market.
Without backtracking totally on Philly, my thing is that I kind of thought it was a product of the Fultz situation was why they didn't have guards. I thought it was more like they're waiting and seeing what happened with him, and then the thing with Zaire happened. And it was more like, look, we get it, we just don't have guards, but it's because of unfortunate circumstances.
Right.
At this point, I actually don't believe that. Now it's apparent that this is, to use a hackneyed phrase, not a glitch, but a function.
Right.
Or is that the phrase?
I don't know what you're
Glitch,
talking
but a
about.
function, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that this is actually their belief system.
Yeah.
They have had all these opportunities to add guards, and they just fucking won't.
But I disagree that they won't. I just think that I agree that the Fultz thing was kind of damaging to their psyche. But the best guard that changed hands was Dennis Smith Jr. There was no guard available. Conley was kind of a little too expensive, to be honest.
I don't think they could have afforded Conley.
So who out there? You could say we needed a point guard, and there's lesser guards. Jeremy Lin would have been fine enough.
But I'm talking about
who are you
I'm talking about the Alfred Paytons.
That's what I mean. But you can have them later. Maybe they know
maybe,
that.
But you can't though. If they don't want to trade him, they're not going to just buy out Alfred Payton.
But the buyout market will produce somebody of Alfred Payton's value.
I doubt it.
Well, I don't know. The buyout market is going to be huge in the next 2 weeks. I think a lot's going to happen. Toronto has 5 empty. I believe they have 5 roster spots to fill through the buyout market. Teams know that this is going to be a situation this season where they're going to be able to fill their rosters.
That could totally happen. But I guess to me, it's more the realization and the suspicion that I had that they really do fundamentally misunderstand that Ben Simmons is a power forward and not a guard. To me, that's what this is all about. That they're looking at their roster and being like, Ben Simmons is a guard, and it's like he isn't. He doesn't do anything that a guard does.
Yeah.
At all. There's literally nothing about him that says this is a guard.
It's funny how they don't call Marc Gasol a guard. He's a guard.
But this is
Jokic, guard.
Yeah.
This is like me in pickup, where I'm the most natural point guard on the floor, but I'm bigger than all of the other ones.
But that's the thing. You're not the point guard. You're running the offense. You're distributor,
No,
but you're not a
that's
point
what I mean,
guard.
but what if-
you don't
what if
guard
it's-
guards? They don't guard you.
What if it's just what if he's just being selfish and he just wants the glory?
Who is this?
The Ben guy. It's Ben Simmons.
That guy.
Like, what if he's just sort of demanding the rock at all times? He's like, I want to run the offense.
But he doesn't anymore. That's the thing, is these people who are claiming that Ben Simmons is like the point guard. Are they watching Sixers games? Because
Yeah,
he gets
he's
the
not
ball
occupying
off
that
of a
space.
rebound and he pushes the ball off the floor and looks to get the ball into the hands of someone.
And then he sets up.
and then he goes
Right.
down to the block.
Always.
He's more or less leading the NBA in like field goal percentage out of the post.
What's that little spot that he likes to play that you like?
Dunk spot.
What's it called?
The dunker spot? Love the dunker spot.
spot.
But I mean, he's playing like Inez Kanter essentially on offense. He gets the ball in the paint,
Ex-Knick
he-
legend,
and then
Enes
he gets
Kanter.
fouled or he gets a layup or a dunk in the half court. There's nothing guard at all about him.
We've
He's-
been through this. Yes, yes.
Anyway.
Totally, yes.
But I'm saying it's clear. You are right to cut me off. It is just clear that the Sixers institutionally believe that he is a guard. Like all these fans who yammer into my mentions all the time that he's actually a point guard. The Sixers clearly believe that, and that is informing this bizarre lopsided roster that keeps being infested with forwards. Final point on this. I'm really excited to see Simmons at the 5
That's gonna be
with
awesome.
like 4 forwards around him. I'm actually really into that.
That has to be their plan, right? They have that chalked up.
Because you can't play Boban with him.
Exactly.
You can't. Boban's
yeah.
sick, but you can't play him with Simmons.
I
'cause
agree.
They can't both post up.
So when that trade went down, I was like, oh, this is going to mean what we wanted. Simmons at the 5 when Joe's off the court.
Put Simmons at the 5 with Tobias, with
Jimmy, maybe.
with Ennis, and with Mike Scott, and I'm like, I'm in.
That's fun.
I want to watch that
That's
team.
fun. That's modern.
A bunch of guys who can sort of defend, who can all shoot with Simmons at the 5.
Mike
Into it.
Scott's going to be very useful.
I'm into that lineup.
I like the Ennis acquisition too. I love the Shumpert acquisition for Houston, but that kind of player, we say 3-and-D all the time, but there's only a handful of guys that fit that role who don't demand the basketball or a lot of your cap space.
And
Ennis
of the
is one of them.
And most of the guys that we consider 3-and-D either aren't really good shooters or aren't good defenders.
Right.
They're usually one or the other.
Right.
But I guess the last thing that we should talk about, because we missed it, was Otto Porter. I mean, we don't have to get into the weeds here, but Otto Porter, promising player on the Wizards, and he was dealt for Jabari Parker and I believe some junk.
And Portis.
Then Bobby Portis, who will punch you in the face. And
Well,
if
after you ask
for
it, right?
if you
right.
request it, he'll
I
snuff
dare
you
you to
out.
break my face right now.
He'll do it. Do not dare him. So what are the Wizards doing here? You've been the Wizards hater on cookies for
5 years.
5 years. What is this? What you want?
Yes, they're finally inching their way out of purgatory. It sucks, and just to quickly run through, the reason I've been so down on them, because I'm down on the system. It's like fake
Yeah,
socialism.
fuck the system.
He's the system of a down.
That's right. But, they hit on...
Leave me alone.
Okay, you're the hashtag resistance.
What's that?
It's sort of like the anti-Trump, but also like middle-aged white women. It's kind of a Hillary-esque.
Oh, wait. Is it something called the hashtag resistance, or you just said
It's a
hashtag
symbol.
resistance?
It's a symbol. It's not called hashtag.
But it is kind of called hashtag resistance.
We call it hashtag resistance, but it's a symbol when you type it.
Okay.
So the Wizards hit on their picks, like Wall was a hit, Beal was a hit, Otto Porter Jr. was someone you had to kind of offer money to. Even Kelly Oubre was a marginal success in that, like, you had to decide what to do with him. So they played with the rules. They got rewarded with high picks in the draft. They hit on those picks. They signed those picks is what the salary cap wants you to do. It's the NBA wants you to do. And they had no chance at making the conference finals ever. Like, they were hopeful for one season, but we never really considered them contenders to win anything. So
We're always surprised when they won a playoff series.
yeah, it was cool, right? And they had some good showdowns with what was that team they wore all black to play?
Boston.
Was it Boston? Yeah, there was that beef, right?
Yeah.
Marcus Smart. No, yeah, it was Marcus Smart related. He's awesome. But so anyway, they're finally getting out of that because of a catastrophic injury to John Wall.
Well, it's interesting how a couple years ago, the Brooklyn Nets offered a huge contract to Otto Porter when he was a restricted free agent. And the Wizards could have just let him walk. And they didn't. They paid him and it didn't work out. And now they're kind of doing the same thing. They're just letting him walk 2 years later. And in some ways, all they did was give up 2 years of money to him.
Yeah.
Like they didn't actually lose here. No. They could have just let him go to the Wizards and sign someone else, and now they're like just freeing the money up. It's kind of like a weird cycle of life situation.
Well, it's my pet peeve, right? Like GMs sign players to bad contract, and 2 years later, like shovel them away, and we reward them for that. Like Tim Hardaway is like, we created space. I'm like, why did you sign Tim Hardaway?
But that's why I kind of like this one, where it's like
Porter's kind of good, though.
No, but Porter's good, but it's more like they paid him. They didn't feel like paying him. They're just going to let him walk later. They didn't give up any assets. They didn't have to give up first-round picks to dump his contract. It's just sort of like, all right, be gone, and someone else will pay you your contract.
Agreed, and it was kind of cool that they decided to keep Beal. They announced that they're going to build around Beal and try to re-sign Ariza. That's kind of cool. But
unless you're Bradley Beal.
The big loser here.
Like, so cool.
But
thanks, guys.
But he's never been a malcontent. He's always been pretty chill, right?
Like, so what about this whole me being traded to the Lakers thing? Oh, no. You're staying right here. You're going to be ground floor of this rebuild as John Wall repairs his entire lower body over the next 2 years. Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm doing? Yeah. Fantastic.
But Beal has never projected himself as a player he's not. He's never been like, I'm the man now. Like when he goes off, he's just like, yeah, I had the ball. John Wall's hurt. You know, like he's kind of like a really chill guy, and maybe Grunfeld is just like, he's not the problem, and he always has value. He'll have value next year. He's only like 25, I think. But what's up with the Bulls entering NBA purgatory?
Interesting move from the Bulls, who are terrible. Like, are you gonna?
I hate that move.
Are you gonna fuck up your draft pick this year?
Yes. Like Otto Porter makes them good enough never to get a high draft pick and never to contend.
So here's the layout via the helpful site Tankathon. Knicks, worst team in the league with 10 wins. Phoenix 11, Cleveland 11, Chicago 12, Atlanta 18. They are clearly gambling here that they will not catch Atlanta, who has 18 wins. That Otto Porter is not going to make up for a 7-win difference over the next few games.
I think that's a pretty good gamble.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree. It also probably means they will not lose enough games to catch Cleveland, Phoenix, or New York, however. So Otto Porter...
But the odds are flat and they're nice.
That's what I was going to say. So Otto Porter probably will not play a big role. Maybe it's 52 versus 48 or something, but most likely they're not going to slide down to like the 7th spot or something like that. So Porter may not screw up their draft.
Well, just moving forward, like, do you think... Off the top of my head, like they signed Levine to a max. Markkanen still has 2 years left on his rookie deal. Portis is gone, so they don't have to worry about that anymore. Otto Porter Jr. has, 3 more years for, high 20s, maybe 26, more. 27?
I want to say he's got another year and then a player option.
That's not...
And he's got a trade kicker.
That's not that fun, man.
Well, Chicago's...
And Chris Dunn is getting benched.
But Chicago's just duplicating the Wizards. They're like, okay, our Bradley Beal is Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
And our Otto Porter is Otto Porter. And they're just kind of duplicating it. Like, we're going to overpay guys who aren't that good, and we're going to win a few games, and eventually we'll just tear this down.
Yeah. And they're giving up on Dunn. The rumor is that they're kind of going to give up on him, which is
That's a guy the Sixers could have used.
I absolutely think so. But what a weird player. He didn't really pan out in the way I hoped he would have. But I don't know. Chicago's in a tough place, man. I am not excited about that team to watch them, to talk about them. They're just so boring.
Is pan out a mining term?
I'm guessing it should be, right? Like gold stuff, 49ers stuff.
How did Justin Holiday not get traded today? Or is he going to get bought out?
Do they like him?
I mean,
he's old, right? He's like 28,
but
29.
he's on the Grizz now. Remember the Grizz gave out...
Yeah.
But his contract is up.
The Grizz had a weird day. I thought they were going to kind of clean house more. They got rid of one guy, but...
They kept Conley.
that was kind of odd to me. And Holiday, I thought was going to get moved for sure. I don't know. He doesn't get bought out though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but I thought he was someone that would clearly get moved for like a second rounder or something like that. But
It's funny because like these insiders like Windhorse and everybody who reports on this stuff, even Woj, like they know all this stuff is going down already, and they won't budge. I mean, they won't tell us publicly, but I'm sure like we could find out, being like, oh yeah, they tried to trade Justin Holiday, but their asking price was too high.
yeah, people were predicting the Fultz to Orlando thing like last night. Like
Yeah.
he's being traded tomorrow,
this stuff will
and
leak.
it's probably to Orlando.
Oh yeah, let's talk about KD being salty. Jordy,
Yeah.
Jordo, you have some KD
Oh,
takes
he's
on
back.
that?
He's back.
Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah. When he was like, where it was.
You got this.
No,
you got
there was-
this. You got
There
this.
was
Come
the
on,
part.
come
There
on.
was the part. Right then, it was like, he's like, you can't read my mind. And the reporter's like, well, now you're trying to read my mind. Did you hear that like
Yeah.
tiny little bit as he walked off? I was chuffed with that part.
You were chuffed.
Chuffed, because as
Well, he hadn't,
royalty, I'm chuffed.
he hadn't talked to the media for a few days, and people were wondering
9 days.
why. Yeah, and then he comes out last night with this tirade against Ethan Strauss, and the classic Durant grouchiness, right? Like, why you media always have to bring up like this? We're trying to play out the season. Just let me play basketball. Why you got to ask about what's going to happen this summer?
So Strauss wrote an article for The Athletic in which he said a few things about Durant that Durant would have bristled at. He said that Durant believed that winning 2 championships would make him
was
be
amazing.
known as the best basketball player on the planet, and that didn't happen, and that was something that was like bothersome to him. He also said that Durant was almost sure to leave, and those were things that were written about the article that he objected to.
Rightfully,
To some extent, I mean,
yeah, no,
sure,
he's right.
like,
Yeah.
As someone who's written articles that are critical of people,
Oh,
it's totally fair for people to come back at you. I remember years ago, I forget what magazine it was. It was like a music magazine, but I made a joke about Prodigy
the
from
rapper.
Mobb Deep.
I was like the group Prodigy.
Rest in peace, Prodigy. But I made a joke about him on like the Summer Jam screen. It was that era. And he on his blog at the time, like Infamous Stores or whatever it was called, which is like pre-blogging, whatever that his site was. And he like was like something. He was talking shit like "fuck Ben Detrick," like riding Jay-Z's dick or whatever it was.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was, but I'm saying that was
That's back in the day when you were known as a Jay-Z dick rider.
yeah, that was that era.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was totally justified. Like you can talk shit. If I make a joke about you and criticize you, just because I'm a member of the media and a relative nobody doesn't mean that I'm not fair game for a response. So to me, KD going back at someone who wrote things that he doesn't believe to be true or he believes are unfairly speculative, like, yeah, why not?
And yeah, and everyone knows that's good for Ethan Strauss anyway. But like, yeah, I think it's fair game, and I think we're like, this is the golden age for media, but it's also the hardest time to be in media, right? And I think it's because of this, because like players have ways to articulate themselves without going through an intermediary like a reporter. And when a reporter steps in and does reporter-ish stuff, we all can get mad at him because he's fair game. And like, and we talked about this last time. There's a difference between having a take and reporting a take, and we kind of get that confused a little too much.
Well, as someone who's as online as KD, I think he should understand a little better that you lose when you get angry. And if he had approached this with a sense of humor, and
Oh,
and
he
like,
doesn't know how to do this.
right? But that's what I'm saying. If he had approached this a little more casually and not been overtly bothered by it, and just sort of been like, guys, come on, I'm trying to play ball. Like I know you're going to speculate, but I'm just not going to even address that stuff. And we'll talk about those things after the season. But please don't ask me about the Knicks because I'm just not going to answer it.
The problem with KD getting mad about the media is that he consistently chumps himself all the time. So you can't really
He mugs himself.
then like when the media chumps you, blame the media for making you look bad because he does a real good job of that all by himself.
I just think he would have been fine if he said, "Hey, I don't want to talk about that stuff."
Don't get me wrong. I liked his little hissy fit. It was
No, I actually kind of liked it.
It was
No,
cool,
it's
and he had like that hat on. He looked
Well,
like,
as a
bit
Knicks
mean.
fan, As a Knicks fan, I want all this stuff to go down because this is part of his personality that makes him.
Oh, you
move
want
to
him
the
like
Knicks.
you want him having like full-fledged wars with the Bay Area media
That's what we
corps.
want, right? But like back to the media thing, like the most famous politician in the world right now gets into this KD trap all the time. I was like, "Do you guys know about trade? I'll explain trade to you." And everyone's like, "Go on." And just records him talking about trade. It's like, "You guys are so dumb. You don't even know how this works, A, B, and C." And they're like, "Okay, our job isn't, we know what that is, but our job isn't to explain that in our article. Our job is to report what you say."
Well, that was the same thing with KD talking to media, saying like, "I'm just trying to do my job." It's like, yeah, but you know that they're doing their
Yes.
job.
Yes,
like you know
exactly.
that. Like you're saying it's like, who are you? It's like you know their job is to report on you doing your job.
Yes.
So you know what they are.
Well, it's like
I didn't like the part where he's like, I just want to hit the gym and go home. It's like, I would have been way more believable if he's like, I just want to hit the gym, then go to Arby's, and then go over to Dave's house, and then hit the club.
Like it's a full,
Just like a full,
like
like,
trifecta.
full itinerary.
which is a full
Arby's,
itinerary of
Dave's
like
house.
exactly what it means to live. If you get, like, he wants the media to let him live his life, then tell us what that life entails, Kev.
Okay.
Right? Isn't that
Yeah.
reasonable? Like, you're not, because then who's gonna just let him do that? Because no one believes he's just going home after the gym.
He's going to Kev's. I mean, he's going to
Dave's.
Dave's house.
Go-
I just
Dave's
want to like
house.
text with Iguodala, like he likes memes and I like memes, and we're gonna text, and then like maybe I'll meet up with Draymond and we'll go to Applebee's, and after that I'm gonna watch some movies, maybe YouTube, like Narcos season 2 is pretty good, like just the full itinerary.
Yeah. Kind of want the full itinerary.
It's
Because
like
then if we knew what we were meant to be like letting him do, maybe we'd have a bit more respect for it and be like, oh man, he has a lot on his plate. He doesn't need to be thinking about Kristaps Porzingis.
He's friends with, oh no, that's Butler that's friends with Wahlberg. No, actually he's friends with Wahlberg too.
he's friends with a Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing.
I mean, I'm saying maybe he should break it down, the Wahlberg schedule. Like, I'm up at 3 a.m. I'm showering at 6 p.m.
I'm meditating for 5 hours.
Right, the full,
AKA
like,
sleeping.
that was the great thing about Wahlberg.
Yeah, it's like-
I start meditating at approximately 11:30, and I end meditating at about 9 a.m.
The best part.
A solid 9 hours of meditation is really what gets me energized for the day. And then I do a little cat meditate in the early afternoon.
Yeah, I eat a big Wahlburger and then I do a cat meditation for 20, 25 minutes.
A meditate siesta around noon. I got into those in Mexico.
I clear my mind.
I feel like I'm in a meditation right now.
Well, meditate on this.
Yes.
Was this the perfect pod?
For you guys did a pretty good job, I must say.
Jordan, you
Especially-
killed it. You killed it.
Especially
man.
since you have to deal with me over here. Kind of slumped in my chair. I don't feel good.
Just having you in the room is winning culture, man. Like, even if you're not feeling your best, you got like a busted groin like LeBron. We got you, man.
That's not very nice of you to call my groin busted. You haven't even seen it.
It's
you-
I put that fiberglass in there. I'm sorry, man.
It was Quo.
I don't want to drag this out any further, but I do want to mention one thing. The Mavs traded 4 out of 5 of their starters before the deadline.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I feel great. That's kind of like a ballsy move, even though they're like clearly not trying to win this year. 4 out of 5 of your starters are gone, and your only starter left is a rookie. Hell yeah, Dallas.
Jordo,
Respect.
were you
Kick some shit?
Were you mad at them for trading Harrison Barnes mid game?
Fuck no.
Yeah, it's funny, right?
Well, also he knew that he was on the block, and he chose to suit up. So I'm less mad at the Mavs and more proud of Harrison Barnes.
And then he got the opportunity to do the quote unquote good thing where he came back onto the bench to watch his teammates finish the game. Like, it was just a photo op opportunity.
He should have honestly. He should have like gone out there, the sub back in, and taken like a 4 points bow like around the crowd, and then got sub back out, and no one did know what the fuck he's doing, except at the newsreaders.
Harrison Barnes is one of those sort of anonymous, well-paid guys that we don't know much about, but apparently Harrison Barnes is awesome.
Doesn't drink though, right?
But I mean, that's a mark against him. But generally,
Is he a cop?
No, and he's like or super smart, like maybe it's a community organization. I mean, he's just
Oh,
like apparently no,
whoa.
he's apparently like a great dude. So
He's
like
a community organizer, doesn't drink, is nice.
Ooh, sounds like someone who might go undercover.
No, I've heard the same thing about him, that he's awesome.
The thing is, if no one has ever asked him if he's a cop, because if you're a cop and someone asks you if you're one, they have to tell
say,
you.
Right.
Jordan, are you a cop?
Oh, man.
Oh, fuck.
Damn, I thought this pod was perfect.
They have to tell you.
No,
Okay,
Oh,
thank
finally,
God.
perfect pod.
There it is, the perfect pod.
but you know I'm not a cop because I'm Australian. But you don't know that I'm not part of Scotland Yard or some other mysterious form
Operative.
of enforcement, global law enforcement.
Was it
MI6?
MI6? Are you in that?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean it used to be. It's kind of just all bureaucratic at this point.
Yeah, it's like 90s
A lot of
basketball.
yeah, shifting.
A lot of paperwork.
No, not
Job's
so.
killing
It's actually
me, man.
paperless work these days, Andrew. Lots of deleting emails mostly.
Not enough hand checking.
Not enough hand checking. Not enough. Not enough poison darts in the end of my umbrella.
The Australian cop is logged on.
Hey, do you guys want to go to that thing in Tribeca?
What, tonight?
It's the
I love
the
cookies.
KGB Museum of Spies.
Oh, I heard that's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's go. That sounds
go.
cool.
We're going next Tuesday at 2 p.m. if anyone wants to join us.
Do you have to do a dead drop?
Yeah.
Need a contact? Folded up newspaper?
Yeah, a little chalk on the side of a post office box. Or one of those solar powered trash cans.
Little fiberglass for the underwear.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cookies.
Cookies.
The perfect pod.